Welcome to highlights of day 2 of the 8th Asian Airgun Championship being played at the Dr. Karni Singh shooting ranges in New Delhi. It's day 2 of action, so it's women's air rifle time, and we begin with the youth event of the 10-meter air rifle for women. This is the start list. 2 Indians in the finals, Ashi Rastogi in the first position, Prachi Gadkari in the third firing position, Malika Lagutenko of Tajikistan, 3 shooters from Taipei, Wu Pai Yu, Liao Chao Mei and Chang Chi-jui, as well as 2 shooters from Iran who will make up the start list. Let's join the highlights. At that point of time, Prachi Gadkari 81.7, but the first elimination has happened. Wu Pei Yu of Taipei with a score of 77.7. She was in firing position D to begin with. We'll just have to let go of her rifle. Just paying for a little bit of erratic shooting, especially early on. Her last 2 shots weren't so bad, 10 on an average 10.0. But her first 3 shots really set her back by a fairly long way. Rastogi fires a 10.8. That is a fabulous start. Gadkari has got a 10.7 in this particular shot as well. Saw the scores as they were being updated live. There's a 10.7 from Sobi Hayes as well. And Chang gets a 10.6, which still keeps her in the lead. But it just brings the 2 Indian girls back into reckoning. Not too far from the lead. Prachi Gadkari in particular is just 0.4 behind the leader, Chang Chi-jui. And we are also going to see the next elimination. Malika Lagutenko of Tajikistan falls out with 101.5, but all the cheers for the Indian shooter Prachi Gadkari. This young 15-year-old fired well for most of these finals, but just a slightly poor run of scores in the last couple of shots. So the 2 names to watch out for, Sobik Hayes and Rastogi. 0.4 separating the 2. If Rastogi can fire a 10.5 or better perhaps, then it will put an enormous amount of pressure on Sobik Hayes. She gets a 10.6. Ashi Rastogi will be hoping here that Sobik Hayes doesn't get any better than 10.1. Gadkari gets a 10.3. Chang fires an 8.6. Prachi Gadkari scored 10.3. Oh, Sobik has also got a 10.6, so she will be safe. And this unfortunately means that, in fact, Chang Chi-jui will be the one who will be eliminated. Tough competition. 10.2 from Liao, 10.4 from Sobik Hayes, 10.3 each from the 2 Indian girls. So that will just about keep Gadkari on top. So the next shot will determine who will be the medal winners. But we might have a shoot-off in case all the scores don't come up in the order that you want. Just a 0.8 gap between positions 1 and joint 3rd. Very close finish here in order in the 10-meter air rifle women youth finals. It's a good shot from Rastogi, 10.4. Liao 9.5, that might see her eliminated. Sobik Hayes gets a 10.5. Gadkari gets a 10.0 as well. And Liao Chao Mei of Taipei will be the one to be eliminated. Rastogi finds herself now into 3rd position. She gets a 163.8. Rastogi under pressure fires a 9.9. Creates an opening for Sobik Hayes, who fires a 10.2. Gadkari gets a 9.3. Prachi Gadkari, she was leading till just a while ago, but now she drops down to 3rd position. And Prachi Gadkari of Maharashtra will have to be content with the bronze medal for the 10-meter air rifle women youth. 183.6 a score. Disappointed with that last shot, no doubt, because 9.3 at a situation when she had to pull off a score in excess of 10, and that would have seen her retain perhaps the lead. But good to see that smile on her face. Lots and lots of opportunities coming up ahead. She fires a 10.4. Sobik Hayes has to fire 10.7 or better. She gets a 10.5, so the gold will belong to Ashi Rastogi of India. Just a point two gap between the two of them, but Ashi Rastogi, the local girl, has pulled it off by the narrowest of margins. Finishing with a sequence of 20 shots with 205.7. That's a fantastic finish for her. And that effectively makes it the third individual gold for India in these 8th Asian Airgun Championship. Bronze medal going to Prachi Gadkari of India. 18-year-old from Maharashtra. Fine score in the Junior World Championship at Germany earlier this year, 409.5 where she scored. This is Sayeda Roya Sobi. His outstanding firing from her as well went right down to the last shot and could have even picked up the medal had she picked up the gold had she fired anything better than 10.7. Ashi Rastogi of India. Fantastic performance from the 18-year-old local girl from Delhi. 205.7, magnificent performance, and really held her nerve in the last two shots. In fact, the 19th shot she managed a 10.9, and that's what really brought her into the forefront, and from there on it was quite unlikely that she would lose.
Thank you.
Welcome along. It's the finals of the 10-meter air rifle women junior at the 8th Asian Airgun Championship. And this is the final lineup that we have for you. 7 shooters only in this finals, and healthy representation from the home side. 3 Indians, Shriyanka Sadangi alongside Mampi Das and Mandeep Popli. But watch out for number 6 there, Najme Khidmati from Iran, who's a top shooter. She's also the Asian Games champion, and she also did well at the World Cup in Gabala earlier this year. Well, she fires, her first shot is a 10.1. I can tell you that in practice she was regularly firing 10.8s. Sadangi also comes up with a 9.9. Popli also with a 9.9. Das with 8.6. And Karamzadeh at the moment is the leader with 10.5. And Tulgabat is yet to get away with her final shot. Khidmati with her second shot, 10.7. Her compatriot Karamzadeh also starts well. She puts in a 31.3. So the top 2, in fact top 3, all of them from Iran. Mampi Das also had a bit of a up and down shot. Oh, she gets a 10.9.
Debayan, you called it. But a great shot also from Shriyanka Sadangi. That should boost her confidence as well.
So one more shot to go for the halfway mark, after which we will have the first elimination. This is Zolgyargal Tulgabat from Mongolia. 89.5. Important shot for her coming up, because she and Mandeep Popli are just 0.3 within each other.
We have the first decision and have to say
Mongolia's Tulgabat will be the first one to be eliminated. 99 her score from 10 shots.
with the score of 99.
We're talking of air rifle, which the maximum is 10.9. This is outstanding from her.
After 11 shots, 116.1, and she's a full 1 point ahead of her compatriot Fateme Karamzadeh. So just tells you about the quality of the firing. So that will see the next elimination after 12 shots. Mampi Das from India. Mandeep Popli, in fact, has moved up to 5th position, but Mampi Das just behind her in 6th position will have to leave. But she had her moments, but as you, I think, absolutely perfectly said, the inconsistency costing her.
And that's been a worry for the Indian coaches as well, because when she came onto the scene, they were talking of her as a potential Olympic medalist. And unfortunately, things have gone downhill ever since at the age of 14 and 15, she made the Indian squad, and she was shooting alongside Anjali Bhagwat at the Asian Championship in Doha last time.
And now the fight is more or less for the bronze between Shriyanka Sadangi, Shafilpur, and if Mandeep Popli can pull off something miraculous. But she's also trailing by a massive margin.
Yes, at the moment her last shot was a 9.1 they ban, and I mean everyone else is shooting 10.7s, 10.6. 9.1 means the gap increases by say 1.4. That's going to be very, very difficult. She's in the danger zone right now.
Filpo begins with a 9.7.
Sri Lanka just needs to get a 9 and the bronze medal is her. She gets a 10.4, so a medal confirmed for India. Sri Lanka Sarangi is going to be on that medal podium. So this is Karamzade's moment. If she wants to put pressure on Najme Khedmati, this is it. She needs a couple of really high scores like the one we saw from Najme Khedmati a short while back.
And as you were mentioning a while ago, Najme Khedmati, she's definitely just taken her foot off the pedal, and perhaps that's intentional, or maybe that's happening by accident, but that's something that will disappoint her. Khedmati fires a 10.7. So we will just have to confirm about whether this will stand as a record, but it is definitely a finals junior world record which she has crossed. She has crossed her previous best.
Yes, fantastic shooting, and you just imagine, Devan, what she could have got if she hadn't taken her foot off the gas in those series of 9.9s and 10s and 9.7s.
It is confirmed as a record, and it's 208.9 for her. Fateme Karamzade is the one who finishes in second position with 208. A terrific performance from Najme Khedmati. It's a 1 and 2 for Iran. Khedmati with 208.9 and Karamzade with 208.3. So just a gap of 0.6 between the two of them. The news from the 8th Asian Airgun Championship that Najme Khedmati has sealed up the gold for the finals in the 10-meter air rifle junior. So this is the presentation ceremony for the air rifle women junior, and some joy for India. Sri Lanka Sarangi, outstanding performance from her, 185.4, and I say outstanding because she began the finals ranked among the last players. In fact, she was in last position, 410.0 in qualifying. Her first major championship here, although she has done well at the junior level. This is Fateme Karamzade, and she picked up a 208.3. On most days, that would be enough to win you a gold medal, but not when she was up against her compatriot, who will be picking up the gold shortly. The presentation's being made, and Najme Khedmati, 208.9. This, under normal circumstances, would have been a world record. In fact, indeed, her record is the world record for juniors, 207.9. Unfortunately, there were only 7 participants, so this record will not stand, or rather it will not be ratified. But 208.9, smashing her previous best by a mark of more than 1 point. Outstanding performance from Najme Khedmati. Really good showpiece competition, much like the 10-meter air rifle for men yesterday.
Yes, and the one to look out for is the battle between Apurvi Chandela and Elahi Ahmadi, because they've duelled all through this year, and at the beginning of September, Elahi won the gold in the World Cup final, which is the season-ending event in shooting, and Apurvi Chandela won the silver medal. Let's not forget Ionica Paul, because last year at the Commonwealth Games, she reached the final. She didn't start off too well, but showed enough grit to end up with the silver medal, despite being last at the end of the first series of 3 shots.
And a couple of exciting young players as well. King Bowman, just 18 years of age, making it through to her final. Youth silver at the Asian Shooting Championships in Nanchang in 2012. So, as always, 20 shots to be made. First 2 sets of 3 shots each, and the first elimination to begin after the 8th shot. From qualification, it was Elahi Ahmadi who has emerged as the most prominent prospect here. Let's see if she can maintain that sort of momentum here in the finals as well.
Yes, and also Apurvi Chandela is someone who's been very consistent this year. Her score was not too high in qualifying, it was 415, but if you look at where she's been shooting through the year, That's where she has been, 416, 415, that's where she is. So it now depends on her how she actually matches up to the Iranians.
Chandela begins with 10.8, Imam Gholi with 10.7. And Ahmadi just falling a little behind 10.4. Ghatkar 8.9. So that's the only score which is below 10. And Sir from Singapore has come up with 10.8. She's also another person who's not been spoken about perhaps as often, but Jiang Wei Jasmine Sir is as good as anybody else. Silver in the 2008 championship in Nanjing.
Yes, and also Devan, she's an Olympian. She's won 2 gold medals here at this very range during the Commonwealth Games, and also won a gold in 3 position at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, where Apurvi Chandela herself won a gold as well. So Apurvi has actually not had a very good second shot. She shot a 9.4, but it's between Ionica Paul, 10.5. So really Ionica is catching up after not so very good qualifying.
And Ghatkar gets a 10.8. However, it's Sir who has got a 10.7. Her total score from the first 2 shots, 21.5.
Stanislas Lapidus is the foreign coach of India in the dark blue t-shirt, while next to him is Laszlo Shuchak, who's the coach of Iran, who was earlier the foreign coach of India. So the present and former coach of India in that frame.
The first 3 shots have been fired, and Jiang Wei is the one who's leading. 32 is an absolutely astounding figure after 3 points, but Ionica Paul hot on her heels, just 0.5 behind.
And Ionica has shown that she has it in her to actually really go after the competition. But worrying signs for Apurvi Chandela. Remember, Devan, this was being billed as Apurvi versus Eli, but at the moment Apurvi with those 2 nines has really fallen off the pace. Her mother is here watching this competition, so surely Apurvi will want to raise her game, because all these people who've come here have come to watch her as well.
Kim has got a 10.4. Kim Bo Min, who's just about in the middle of the stage, and Paul just a little disappointing here. Her first sub-10 score in a while. And Ghatkar just brings herself up to 10.4. Ahmadi also, thankfully for Ionica Paul, perhaps only gets 10.0.
So we have Apurvi Chandela on our screens right now, a 10.1, but she still finds herself in 8th position. At the end of 8 shots, the lowest ranked shooter will be eliminated, so Apurvi Chandela knows she's in the danger zone.
Back Kim Bo Min from Korea, who's in 5th position at the moment, but hot on the heels of her are both the pre-match favorites, Apurvi Chandela as well as Pooja Ghatkar, and of course Eli Ahmadi. So a topsy-turvy final already, and now the critical 2 single shots. Chandela has also picked up 10.4 and Ghatkar has picked up 10.2. So I have a feeling Paul in the meantime has picked up a 10.9. So it's all up for grabs at the moment, because Ionica Paul has won herself into first position now.
Yes, a 10.9, and you can hear the crowd cheering Debayan, because that's the perfect shot. And what a way to reclaim the lead with the perfect shot. She's showing those nerves of steel, which I was mentioning a short while back, which we saw at the Commonwealth Games. But at the moment, worrying signs for Apurvi Chandela. The elimination shot is coming up, and at the moment, she is trailing Pooja Ghatkar, the defending champion, by 1.1 going into the final shot.
Yes, absolutely, no doubt about it. On screens, Jumbo Zorg, who is in 3rd position, in fact, joint 2nd position, tied with her compatriot Imam Gholi. And Jiang Wei has gone up to top position, but Apurvi Chandela, her mother, naturally a little despondent, and the young girl herself. Of course, she's already booked her place in the Olympics, but over here, just losing out to a superior field in many respects. 81.3 most days, Digvijay, would see you safe, but not against all these top quality shooters.
And you're having lots of 10.8s, 10.9s happening, Devan. So clearly, Apurvi Chandela will be a bit disappointed that she's not been able to rise to the occasion, but we're having some phenomenal shooting going on here. In fact, the bar has been raised this morning by Najma Khedmati in the junior championship, when she really shot very, very well and decimated the field.
The next Indian who will have to raise her game a little, Pooja Ghatkar, the defending champion, because she is also just about that drop zone. 10.7, responds well. Thus far the best shot of this round, 10.4 from Paul. Jumbo Zorg allows a 9.4 to spoil her returns, but Jiang Wei gets a 10.8. So the girl from Singapore is in absolutely scintillating form here.
Yes, she's a very experienced shooter, Debayan, and she's someone who's always been under the radar. Let me give you an insight. This is Ionica Paul. As we look at her, she's actually moved up to third now. And Ionica Paul is someone who's been very unlucky. Last year, she was in very good form. She, in fact, at the World Championship, she led after qualifying, but was the first shooter to be eliminated. In the Asian Games, she went in ranked third, and again was the seventh shooter to be eliminated. But now she's showing that she's learned from her mistakes and is approaching the final differently.
Also 9.8, but that will keep her safe. Paul, in the meantime, fires a perfect shot. 10.9. Magnificent firing from the girl from Bengal. And that will put some pressure. In fact, it will definitely whittle down the lead of Jasmine quite significantly.
She's back in the game, Debayan, and for the second time in this final, she's pulled off a 10.9. That just goes to show how focused she is on this final. Her qualifying score may not have been great, but Ionica Paul, remember, does not have a quota place for the Olympic Games, and the Asian Championship next month is her last chance. So she's clearly showing, her parents and her sister are sitting there and watching this final. They've come down from Bombay to watch this, but she's showing that she's in the right groove heading into those Asian Championships.
Kim Bowman, unfortunately, paying the price just for some inconsistent shooting in the last few rounds. Her last two shots, in fact, combined total was just 19.1. That perhaps in this quality field wasn't good enough. She gets a 10.4. Ionica Paul gets a 10.7. Jiang Wei, what can she come up with? 10.5 for her. And Paul has whittled that lead further down. It's only down to 0.7. But in the meantime, Narjis Imamgholi of Iran will be eliminated. Ionica Paul with a good shot there, though.
Yes, a very good shot under pressure. And now what it's done is it's whittled that lead down, and we've got 4 more shots to go. So as it stands, the lead between Ionica Paul and Ahmadi Elahi is 1.1. So she can rest easy and go for that gold medal, because at the moment the favorite Elahi Ahmadi, the World Cup final champion, isn't threatening her. 4 more shots to go, and the next 2 shots will decide who gets through to go to the gold and the silver match.
Yes, we know the medalists. We know that there'll be one from Singapore, one from Iran, and one from India. But what color and what position? That will be determined by the next 4 shots. She gets a 9. Ionica Paul. Her chances of going for gold have been, well, pretty much destroyed by that attempt. Just as we were talking about the fact that she has been pulling off some outstanding shots under pressure. Those last 2 shots, Digvijay, uncharacteristic, and that have cost her a chance to go for gold.
Yes, that has cost her what would have been a very morale-boosting win, and let's hope, even as the family cheers her on, obviously they're very disappointed. Her father himself is a sports person, and he tracks both his daughter's career. Her younger sister, in fact, is a member of the Indian junior trap team, but when she looks back at this competition, she'll know that there was a gold or a silver medal for the taking, and on that crucial moment, her composure deserted her. Clearly has put her up there.
Ahmadi fires a 10.5, so Sir just needs to make sure she gets onto the 9s, and that will be good enough. She's taking her time over this shot. She fires a 10.4, and gold it is for the Singaporean. Outstanding performance. Jiang Wei Jasmine Sir of Singapore take about 208.1 is a final score. Digvijay, outstanding performance.
Yes, she's achieved what she came here for. She was the only shooter from her country to come for the Asian Airgun Championships. She needed practice going into the Asian Championships in Kuwait, and she has delivered at this stage. The favorite has been upset, Elahi Ahmadi, who was actually going for a hat-trick of gold medals at this stage. Razlo Suchak, her coach, looks on. He knows that on this day, his shooter was beaten by a far more experienced and far more consistent shooter.
In fact, Elahi Ahmadi, a tribute to her ability, the fact that she climbed up from being somewhere around 7th and 8th after the early few shots, and she then really made a resurgent entry into this competition fight. But in the end, Jiang Wei holding her off, always keeping a significant lead going, and in the end winning by quite a significant distance. 1.5 is a tribute to how consistent she was herself.
Absolutely, and we even saw this yesterday when Abhinav Bindra was shooting, that when you reach the 13th, 14th or 15th shots, if you built up a comfortable lead, you can easily absorb the shock of a bad shot. We saw in that in the 17th shot in the men's air rifle final, all 3 shooters got 9s, but that didn't affect Abhinav so much. He finished on a high. Here you have the silver medalist, Elahi Ahmadi of Iran. She led the qualifying with a very, very high score of 419 plus. But a huge moment for Ionica Paul as she goes in chasing that Olympic quota, which has remained elusive in the last year and a half. This is a good medal to get going into that Asian Championship.
The
bronze
all in all,
medal
a very exciting final and an unexpected final.
goes to
Purvi
India.
Chandela the first to be
Ionica
eliminated. That in
Paul.
itself was a bit of a surprise, but India finishing on the podium with Ionica Paul.
Absolutely, and that is the beauty of air rifle shooting, and especially the new format of finals. Ionica Paul actually expected to do well for India, and she's on the podium, and it's actually a good comeback for her because she's not been in the best of form of late in the international competition. She's always been on knocking for a quota place for the Olympic Games, but this medal, even as we see Gagan Narang recording something for his camera, he's the most
Silver
prolific
medal
shooter
goes
for India,
to-
not just on the range,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
also with his camera, be it at the Olympic Games, World Championships. Gagan Narang always tells us what's going on in the Indian team.
Chronicles everything, doesn't he? Elahi Ahmadi went into this as the favorite, and she did shoot for most of it as a favorite would. In fact, started poorly, then she fought back rather admirably. 33 years of age, lots and lots of pedigree behind her. 206.6 on most days would be a score you would be quite happy with. But on this day, it was quite difficult to displace Jiang Wei, Jasmine Sir.
Yes, excellent shooting, very consistent shooting, just 1-9 in that entire final. She came down here with a mission, and that mission is accomplished, and clearly she will be very confident heading into the next lot of competitions, because when you beat the person in form, and that too by a very convincing margin of 1.5, obviously you should be a very happy person.
Terrific performance from the diminutive Singaporean 25-year-old.